This is Reuters Today. Coming up, Galaxy phone sends Samsung profits stratospheric. And Catwalk in the Crypt kicks off London Men's Fashion Week. But first, news that Christmas wasn't a season of great cheer for British retailers. The British Retail Consortium says sales at shops suffered in the run-up to the holiday season, with the total value of goods sold up just 1.5%. But adjusted for inflation, stores actually sold less in real terms. Online sales continue to do well, though, up 18% as record rainfall kept shoppers at home. And some brighter news from the British Chambers of Commerce. Their latest survey shows a broad rise in business sentiment in the last 3 months of 2012. Let's speak with Adam Myers, Senior FX Strategist, Credit Agricole, CIB. And the link here with sterling, Adam. HSBC, RBS talking of a sterling crisis. I mean, how far would you go?
Well, I definitely wouldn't call it a crisis. At the moment, foreign exchange markets globally are manipulated by central banks, and no central bank wants to see a sterling crisis because in 2012, sterling was a safe haven and made up a large component of their balance sheets.
But right now it seems to be falling against most currencies, right?
Absolutely. And remember, that is the goal of an exchange rate. When you have economic weakness, the exchange rate is meant to fall to cushion the economy, to cushion the domestic economy, and that's what they should normally do unless there's manipulation and intervention by other parties.
Talking of central banks, which central bank do you think will be first to stop QE?
The first central bank to stop QE?
Yeah.
I think it's most likely to be the Fed.
What about the BOE? How soon after could the BOE step in, do you think?
Oh, very quickly, obviously, with the Federal Reserve being the reserve currency of choice. Once they stop printing fresh money, I think many central banks will follow, particularly the BOE. But on a relative economic basis, there's no question that the US Federal Reserve should stop before the Bank of England.
Ahead of the ECB meeting this week, what are we going to see the euro do? And are you expecting anything from that meeting? And what's euro dollar going to look like?
Well, no question, there's a lot of anxiety from foreign exchange traders in the market at the moment. Given those comments about negative interest rates that we saw at the previous meeting, a lot of uncertainty. I think we're going to see Eurodollar tread water until the press conference and then maybe breathe a sigh of relief thereafter and taking back or losing some of those gains that it's made over the last 2 weeks.
And Japan, it seems, stepping in to support the euro as well, buying some bonds. I mean, how much longer can that support continue from Japan?
Well, I think it can continue for a while. As I said earlier, we are in the era of central bank manipulation of currency markets, and of course it benefits both parties for those foreign exchange reserves in Japan to be used to buy peripheral bonds in Europe. So it works both ways. It suppresses volatility, and it gives us less to talk about in terms of foreign exchange markets, Axel. All
right, Adam, thanks a lot. In company news, Samsung has reported record profits. Tara Joseph is in Hong Kong with the details. Let me ask you first whether it can keep it up, Tara.
Well, they're selling 500 smartphones a minute when you look into their profits. It's hard to believe, isn't it, Axel?
I mean, what is driving it now, though? There's the growing popularity of the phablet, you know, mixed between the phone and the tablet. Is this what's driving it?
Well, the phablet is set to be kind of the big thing in early 2013 in terms of techs, and they are flying off the shelf. They're coming up with phablets. You know, Samsung's kind of had first mover advantage with this phablet thing. The other thing is they have their Galaxy S4 coming out. They're keeping people guessing as to what that model's going to look like. So again, they're kind of continuing to develop models. Plus, they're in the win-win situation in terms of profits, where they make their own phones, and they also make flat screens for all their competitors, including Apple.
And what's it doing to the profits? What are we seeing from the profit numbers? What are we seeing from the rankings it's given in StarMine?
Well, as far as StarMine goes, 40 out of 41 analysts still rate Samsung a buy, even though the stock did very well last year. And some think the momentum in the smartphone market just cannot stay as high as it is. Everyone still seems that there's room to pile into the stock. So it looks like it could be a decent year ahead as far as Samsung's concerned.
OK, Tara, thanks a lot. In world news, Syrian rebels scramble for position. This social media video shows rockets launched at a military base in the north of the country a day after President Assad rejected peace talks. Tensions running high in Venezuela as opposition leaders argue that if President Hugo Chavez is not well enough to attend his inauguration ceremony January 10th, he's no longer fit to govern. And bad weather hampers the search for missing Italian fashion boss Vittorio Missoni. His family say they still believe he's alive 3 days after his plane disappeared off the coast of Venezuela. That is it for this morning. I'll leave you with pictures of St. Paul's Cathedral in London, used last night for a fashion show by menswear brand Hackett. The event kicked off the first ever autumn-winter fashion week for men. Market research firm Mintel says the men's fashion market grew 3.2% in 2011 and predicts growth of up to 16% by 2016. Over the next 2 days, London will host menswear shows by Vivienne Westwood, Alexander McQueen and Tom Ford. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.